Welcome back to Titagrams Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And today I bring you the biggest winners and losers when Spirit of Rebellion comes out. That's right, these may be the cards you want to start stockpiling now if you don't have them. Maybe one of the two of these you want to dump for the future. I don't know. Again, this is predictive. I may be dead wrong. Let's see. Number one biggest winner with Spirit of Rebellion is not that shocking. I think it's going to be Finn. Finn right now feels overcosted, and when people have interviewed the designers, they've specifically said, yeah, of course he's overcosted. That is completely on purpose. Have you seen his ability? It might be broken. So we had to be proactive about that. So basically, every set that comes out from here on out, we're going to be going red villain, weapons, vehicles, synergizing with yellow for the light side, really? So there's always going to be the opportunity for completely crazy things to happen. If nothing else, Finn is going to rise from the, I think, kind of unplayable territory to be pretty good. There's going to be somebody that you can pair with him that'll be at least decent. I think he has a huge upside to him. Number two for me is Poe Dameron. Poe is already good. He's in the Hyperloop deck. He's a star player. Poe Ray is not bad at all. He only has upside to go. As more vehicles come out, as more cards come out that are stuff you might want to discard that are expensive, pretty soon you can have some crazy deck that's like Poe and all crazy expensive cards, and then all cards to turn Poe to the special, and it'll be real consistent, but, you know, just control Poe's die, maybe it'll be okay. Bottom line, though, Poe is only going to get better, and he's already pretty darn good. Third for me is It's a Trap. It's a Trap is just amazing when there are enough red weapons. I feel like right now we're a couple red weapons short of being able to just make an all red deck, right? We already have stuff like Ackbar Troopers and, you know, the little baby blaster for one cost, and maybe IQAs, which I think are overcosted. But when we get 2 to 3 more red weapons, the whole deck is going to be red. Every single card is going to have a red damage side on it or red awesome stuff, and you're going to be able to use this card to do all kinds of things. It's going to be a kill card with range damage. Maybe you flip everything to resources, get a ton of resources, and use your launch bay. But the bottom line is when the whole deck can become red or close to it, this card is going to be bonkers. I expect this card to be fantastic in the next set. Closely related to that is another card that I think is going to be absolutely crazy in the next set is Fight Dirty. For only one cost, Fight Dirty is already crazy. You put it in an Elite Bala Jango deck, that's 3 built in. You put it with Jabba Jango, if you get that early, that's 4 built in. When you can have a deck that's like 3 yellow guys with all yellow weapons, potentially having an Elite Bala in there at 11, that's going to be insane. Like, you might have 4 yellow dice with, say, 4 yellow upgrades by turn 2 and just play a Fight Dirty deck where the whole goal is to be like, by turn 2, I want to Fight Dirty you in the face for 8. This could be a really good burn deck with stuff like Backup Muscle. So I'm looking for Fight Dirty to take that leap from kind of under the radar, sneaky good card to like absolutely dominant card that everyone is playing around at all time because it's that good. Number 5 on my list is Cunning. I mean, Cunning's already a good card, but it really only has room to improve, as crazy as that sounds. But the more cards we have in the set, the more cool specials we're going to have rolling around. Cunning is going to have more and more targets to choose from. Cunning is just one of these cards that is only going to get better. It's also going to get better as we find more options in yellow to put it on. Like, if you put this on Jango, Jango's going to die in the first couple turns, or you win anyway, right? So then it becomes a win more card. Right now, the best target is probably Jabba, but he's got a huge target on his back. If you can get some decks set up where you can put Cunning on a less threatening yellow character and still have a really good yellow character, you're going to have something really special. A deck already was like a Jango Jabba deck. Putting this on Jabba early kind of does mess with your opponent pretty good. But really, it's only going to get better. Already a great card. I'm looking forward to it. Number 6 is a card that is fantastic, but has nothing to go on right now. That's Commanding Presence. Being able to increase a die's value by 2 is insane. Now the problem is, whatever you put it on just dies. So you need to have the right character to put this on. Like for instance, if you have a Grievous deck and you put this on Grievous, I mean, he's going to die. Like, that's the whole point of Grievous. He either beats you or he loses. You're not going to get full value out of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what other characters this is going to work well with. Krennic already seems like a reasonable option. You want to have a character with a lot of health, with some staying power, and with more and more possibilities coming up in the future. I see this card being great. It's going to be really cheap right now. This is a great time to pick up Commanding Presence. I got to think it's only going up from here. Next card on the countdown is Leadership. Leadership's already solid. I mean, we see Luke Ackbar using this to great effect. But guys, it's not only a hero card. We think it's only a hero card because there's really no good way to use this with villains. But you gotta think there will be. What if there's a cheap red Tarkin and he's like 912 for Tarkin, like Veer's status numbers. Only he fits really well with something else. It just feels like Leadership is one of these cards that's like right on the cusp of being great. But it was really waiting for that cheap red character. I'm not sure why I said Veers was 912. He's not. He's not even close to 912. But if we get a Rey style villain unique that this works with, this card is going to be just nuts. Just imagine for a moment a character that could go with Vader, right? You put something with Vader that's unique and red and get to Leadership it. Now you have the Luke Ackbar deck, only Vader. That just sounds crazy to me. I think there's a lot of upside with this card. Number 8 is a card where you might think I'm out of my gourd. Return of the Jedi. What is Tiny talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. There's already a couple decent targets for Return of the Jedi. But what I foresee, and this is what I've always foreseen with this card right from this set, is that it goes in a burn deck. So it goes in a deck where, like, my original thought was I'd have 2 copies of Willpower, 2 copies of Riposte, 2 copies of Return of the Jedi, and then I'm looping these burn cards. It turns out those cards aren't quite strong enough and a little bit too conditional to be able to loop to really burn and win. But there's a decent chance we're going to get another card like that. Maybe it'll be a little bit stronger. And even if it's a little bit stronger, and now you can have 6, let's say there's 2 new burn cards because there's 2 in this set. Let's say you get 8 burn cards. Now we're looking at some serious stuff here. You run like a 3-character deck with a lot of health, 8 burn cards, 2 copies of Return of the Jedi to make it 10 burn cards, and you run a straight burn deck. That's what I'm really excited about with Return of the Jedi, is to see if we can make a deck work where you don't even really need upgrades. You just burn them the whole time with damage from hand, and then roll your dice, and that's just extra great damage. That's the kind of deck that could be really powerful, and it's kind of exciting. Closely associated with this burn deck idea is Power of the Dark Side, and I envision something very similar here with set 2. Let's think about it. We already have Lightsaber, Force Choke, Power of the Dark Side, and Backup Muscle as unblockable. That's 4. If you were to add in, say, 3 more unblockable stuff, you could suddenly build this deck that's built all around the fact that it just deals relentless unblockable damage that cannot be mitigated. That could be really, really strong. For instance, pairing this with somebody like Palpatine could also be really strong, where Palpatine is going to have that just resolve a die, do damage. And now with Power of the Dark Side, you can, turn his holocrons or whatever he has on him, maybe try to roll a Palpatine to get 2 more damage out of it. But essentially, I see this card as kind of a fringe card right now. Like, we're kind of close to be able to build this kind of deck. There was a time where I was trying to build it, but I feel like in set 2, we're really going to be pushing this. I mean, I know they're going to be careful about this because it could be a really bad experience, but I feel like we're really close on a deck like this and making it real. The last big winner, I think, is Hit and Run. Hit and Run is an awesome card, and there's some decks that use it pretty well right now. But there just aren't that many decks right now for the heroes that are looking to load up one red character, roll that character out, and swing it to phase, right? Like, if this was for Luke or for Vader, it'd be great. Imagine this on the dark side, which they already have with Tactical Mastery, but it would work really great with Grievous. The thing that holds it back is there's not that beat stick that you can use it with. You can do cool stuff, right? Like, you can hit and run Ackbar and hope that you hit his special, or not his special, his focus, and then be able to do cool stuff with that. But it just feels like you got to work for it right now. Whereas I think in the next set, red hero should probably get somebody, right, who's pretty strong. Like, the dark side has Veers and the dark side has Grievous. I feel like the light side is going to get somebody like that. And then when you pair this with It's a Trap, oh boy, I have a feeling mono red or close to mono red is going to be really, really strong in the next set. Like, right now it feels like it's good, like it's tier 2, it's strong, but it's not quite at that same level at the very top as like a blue-yellow villain deck is. I think set 2 is going to push it over the limits, and that's what's really cool about Spirit of Rebellion. There's so much hope, right? There's all these cards that could potentially become really great. But let's talk about a couple that I think are going to get worse. Number 1 for me is lightsaber. Personally, I've gotten away from lightsaber in a lot of my decks as it stands. Even melee heavy decks, it's expensive. It only has 3 sides of damage. One of them is a plus side. One of them is a pay side. It's like, it's just not that great. Like, it's okay in the right deck, it can be really good, but I have a feeling that with more weapons at our disposal, it's one of these weapons that we're going to look at as, oh, remember when we were forced to play lightsaber? Now we might play it just as like, you know what? You want to hear something crazy? I want 8 melee weapons, or I want 10 redeploy weapons. Like, this is my whole point of my deck, and it might see play in that regard. But I just think that efficiency-wise, we're going to see something stronger than it. Number 2 is going to surprise some people. It's Jetpack. Let's be real with Jetpack, guys. Everyone loves Jetpack, I feel like, except me. When I look at Jetpack, I see kind of a garbage card that I am forced to run in most of my decks with guns because, well, there aren't enough guns. It has no base damage, guys. It's +2, +3. That's it. That's all the damage on the gun, because it's not even a gun. It's a jetpack. I think the jetpack's kind of terrible, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say not many people are going to run it with Spirit of Rebellion. You may, if your deck is just piles and piles of base damage, that's one way you might run it, where you just have so much unmodified damage that you know you're not going to have a problem, and that could work. Additionally, I think a spot where you might see it is if someone is running Awakening and is able to get the modified damage for free. Like, if you have enough modified damage. For instance, Han Rey has so much modified damage that I just always run 2 copies of that, and then I'm okay generally. And it could still fit in there. But I really think when Spirit of Rebellion drops, we're going to go, wait. Why did we all think Jetpack was amazing? Like, it's like a $15 rare, and it's garbage. What were we thinking? I really think that might happen. Another card that I think is not that great now and will go away is Luke's lightsaber. I mean, Luke's lightsaber is only mildly better than lightsaber and only goes on blue characters and does not have redeploy. This is not a great card. It's a little more flexible, but it's expensive. It's not that great. With more options to go on melee characters, I think it's going to go away. To me, the difference between Kylo's saber and Luke's saber, I don't even understand how they're so different. Like, I don't understand how they designed them like that. Like, Kylo's saber has 4 damage sides and the special's better. I don't get it. But the point is, that difference has made light side struggle a little bit more, I feel like, with their melee decks. And I just don't feel like it's going to continue making a big impact as we move forward. Number 4 is going to be another shocker. Holdout Blaster. It's fine. it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad card. It's a fine card. It's pretty good. It's pretty great, actually, when you factor in that it has ambush and redeploy. My point is, with more weapons, there's a really decent chance we're going to want to steer more towards the right color. Especially a great example is It's a Trap and red decks. I have a feeling red decks are going to want to stick more to red weapons. I think we're going to see more and more mono decks becoming a thing. I also think we might find weapons that are slightly more efficient. Maybe not. I mean, this is pretty darn efficient. 3 damage sides, ambush, redeploy for only 2. I think it's still going to be good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, hey, no one's going to play Holdout Blaster when the new set comes out. No, that's not it at all. I'm just saying I think it's going to drop a little bit. I think it will drop out of some gun decks entirely, as there's just way more. Just imagine a world where there's double the choices for guns. Double the choices. That's going to put a crimp on most of these weapons. I feel like we don't have many weapons that are so standout good that I say, nah, that will never go away. That will always be in the meta. They're just amazing. I feel like they were a little bit cautious with the weapons in this set, and next set we're going to see some really banana stuff. Last on the list, the 5th card is Admiral Ackbar. And when I put Admiral Ackbar on this list, I'm not saying I think he's going to be bad in the Spirit of Rebellion. He's still definitely going to have a spot. He's a 10-14 character with a 2 focus side, 2 resources, and a mill side. That's pretty darn good. But what I'm saying is right now, he's the only choice. Like every red deck that goes, I need a character like around 14 for 2 dice. What are my choices? Your choice is Ackbar, right? Rebel Trooper is 8 cost for 7 health. You've got a way overcosted Leia, a very expensive Poe. Ackbar is the only character that slots into that sort of middle ground of cost, a slightly cheaper red card. And there's going to be another one. There's going to be at least one more that is going to compete in Ackbar's slot. And so my point is, like if you're running a red guns deck, a red It's a Trap guns trying to blow you out deck, and you could have a 2-die 10-14 character that has 2 damage sides on it, you may go for that guy instead. Like his ability isn't super relevant in most situations unless you are running a mill deck. Imagine a guy with 2 gun sides with a relevant ability. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot less Ackbar. As much as we all love Ackbar and feel like he's such a central character in the game right now, I feel like that's going to go away a lot. And then maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ackbar will be everywhere again. But I really just don't see a game in which Ackbar stays a central character. We'll still see him in mill decks. We'll still see him in some cutesy all-in kind of decks. I just don't think we're going to see him in every single red deck. Alright, so hopefully this video helped you get a leg up on what's going to happen in Spirit of Rebellion. Big asterisk here. I might be totally wrong. Don't go selling all your holdout blasters and your Luke's lightsabers and your jetpacks and then turn around and send me a bill and say, Tiny, what are you doing, man? I sold them all. I lost everything. Now I got to rebuy them. They're twice as much. So if that happens, my apologies. But I think these are some of the cards that are going to get better and get worse with Spirit of Rebellion. And I'll see you next time on Tiny Grams Games.